Hello, welcome to my presentation of knowledge management reviewing through the lens of ServiceNow. I'm Chase Pope, and in this we're going to be discussing what knowledge management is, what ServiceNow is, how they're connected, and the 6 dimensions of knowledge management. So to start, what is knowledge management? It is the creation, sharing, and managing of knowledge. So that can be within any organization, ensuring that knowledge is not tribal. It is not just kept in the heads of the users that are sharing the processes. It is put into explicit formats that can be shared on a routine and standardized process. So next, what is ServiceNow? ServiceNow is a platform as a service. It's marketed as an integrated work management system, meaning that the various business units within an organization can all have their workflows in a single tool that allows all the different siloed processes to become integrated with each other. And it also has a robust knowledge base module, which is what we'll be focusing on today. So the knowledge base within ServiceNow is just one of many components of the platform itself. So the first thing that we'll need to talk about is the strategy. So with strategy, you need to understand the business needs first. So you can't select a tool for knowledge management without understanding what your business needs it for. If you have a small business that has a single or just a couple processes, you might not need as robust of a tool as a Fortune 500 company that spans the globe and has hundreds, if not thousands, of different processes. So understanding the business needs is critical to start with. Another item that you'll need to understand for strategy is system selection. That also feeds into what we just talked about, but with system selection, it's specifically how are you going to use the system that is selected? Are you going to use it out of the box? Are you going to extend it or customize it? Out of the box is pretty straightforward. You take the system as you have bought the licenses for, and you use it as the manufacturer intends. You don't change anything about it. Extending a system means that you bolt on modules. You don't change any of the core code, but you just extend and create new code that works in conjunction with the existing, so you can kind of bolt it onto the side. Customization is similar to extension, as you do develop your own custom code and to really benefit your use case. However, it's instead of extending and bolting it onto the side, you're actually changing some of the core functionality that the manufacturer intended for your use case. So once you have the strategy, we also want to talk about the organizational culture. So this is really more to do with the morals, values, and group mentality of an organization. So that's much less of a systematic or technology side of the house, but it's much more focused on the people that make up the company. So organizational culture is something that has been recognized as being very important over the last decade, but it can still be pretty ambiguous to many organizations. How do you change it? What do you do with it? How do you make it better? So that is something that specifically with ServiceNow, it can be very beneficial for the organizational culture as it uses the ITIL framework. So within ITIL, ITIL is a framework that's used mainly by IT professionals, but it's being extended out to more operational and business professionals as well. And it can really help change the organizational culture by making these standardized processes and making work easier and more effective for the end users. It allows more time for collaboration rather than doing the mundane task of the day. So being ITIL centric is important, and it's one of the framework and standing points of ServiceNow. Next, we're going to talk about the organizational processes. So organizational processes, obviously, they're very critical to an organization. It is how an organization does their business. That's how they manufacture their product, deliver their service. You can go on and on with it is what the lifeblood of the organization runs through. So ideally, these would be standardized, purposeful, and holistic. But routinely, you'll see companies and organizations that have siloed processes. They might not be purposeful. They might be done just because that's the way it's always been done, and they need a very thorough review done to ensure that it's the best process for that organization. So again, this is where ServiceNow can shine, because it takes those processes from the different siloed groups and puts them into one system where you can manage the workflows effectively between the different departments. Next, we're going to discuss management and leadership. Obviously, a key driver of anything and everything to do with an organization. Without management and leadership, you're kind of in a ship in the ocean that's just drifting along. You don't have a direction to go. So it's critical for the leadership to drive the strategy that we previously talked about. If they don't, then again you're going to be in that ship just kind of drifting along. So it's critical for leadership to understand the business needs first and foremost. If leadership doesn't know that, then you really don't know what you're doing at that company. Leadership needs to be great at delegating. They need to understand and identify team members that can help steer that ship in their absence. So a captain of a ship doesn't always steer. They have other people that they pass that wheel off to while they go and handle other parts of the business. So it's critical to be able to delegate effectively. And then diversifying the portfolio is also important. So that doesn't mean you get into a ton of different lines of business. It just means that you make sure you have effective backup plans, and make sure that you are diversified. So if something critical, a critical part of your business takes a hit, you can still stay afloat, and you can pivot, and you can go to that plan B quickly and effectively, so you don't get stuck and let your business sink. Next, so we have technology. Obviously, a key point to this whole presentation. ServiceNow is the technology that we have selected, so that's where we'll focus. But technology as a whole, you need to have a good knowledge management tool to support effective knowledge management in any large enterprise. If you don't, then you're going to be working out of spreadsheets, working through Word documents and email, and everything will just get lost, and knowledge will not effectively be shared. So with ServiceNow, there are three main knowledge management modules. The first is the knowledge base. There's a guided tours and surveys. The knowledge base is the backbone of the knowledge management process. It's the repository. It is where the users can create, share, and manage the knowledge that is being put in place. So with that, you have workflows that are out of the box and can also be customized if needed. And those workflows require different approvals so you can have a governance body to ensure that only clean knowledge is being put in the system, and that you don't have an overabundance of the same type of knowledge. You can keep clear lines of business divided there, and make sure that the knowledge gets to the appropriate personnel that it needs to. So that's the backbone of the knowledge management within ServiceNow. You also have guided tours to supplement that, though. Guided tours are extremely effective tools, as they allow the users to perform an action as it's actually being done within a production environment or a test environment. So what this does is it'll start a tour and it walk the user through step-by-step instructions in the production environment if that's where it's designed, so that as the user is clicking using real scenarios and real work, it is telling them exactly what they need to do, and it's keeping them within the bounds of the process. So if someone has a process that they don't use much, this is an excellent use case for this, because they can turn on this guided tour and it will walk them through step by step what they need to do to complete that action. And then finally, surveys. Surveys are vital to receive that feedback. So you can create surveys for just about anything within ServiceNow, and especially the knowledge management piece of this. So if you can receive feedback from your users about how the data looks in the system. Do they think that there's too much, too little? It's not organized properly. And then you can constantly improve your system. Again, with technology, what we previously talked about is how are you going to use it? So with ServiceNow, it does have, of course, the out-of-the-box functionality, which the manufacturer suggests. The manufacturer's been in business for over 15 years, and they've been working with thousands of companies. So they have a very good understanding of what a knowledge management process should look like, and their out-of-the-box core functionality is very robust. So for a lot of companies, they don't need to make any changes to it. They can adopt that process, and it's something that they should look at if you aren't wanting to adopt the out-of-the-box functionality. Why? And kind of do a comparative analysis to see whether your existing processes are better for your company, or if you look at them and say, oh, actually, if we go to the out-of-the-box functionality, that might make our process internally better. So it's something that a company should take a good hard look at. Extension. So of course within ServiceNow you can bolt on new modules as needed and develop custom modules, and they actually are very proud of that ability. You can stand up a new application within minutes using the workflow editors. So it's very useful for extending. And then customization is also an option. It is not recommended just because it does make upgrades a little more difficult. You have to go through all the upgraded items and make sure that your customized code does not conflict with the new items that are being released. And they do conduct 2 releases a year, so they are constantly improving their product. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about politics. Politics is something that can be both good and bad within an organization. I think it's mainly attributed negatively, and when people think about politics, it can be seen as someone who kind of just bogarts the whole conversation and just steamrolls other people. But that's not what politics should be. Politics within a company related to knowledge management should promote multilateral decisions, meaning that it should promote group thinking and making sure that the best idea wins, not just the loudest voice. So politics can be used as a very good thing to sway the opinion of another by using facts and reason. So it also allows for that holistic approach. So again, that groupthink, not just saying that this is in my department what I want, and so that's what we as a company are going to do. It takes people from all different departments to talk together and make sure that the decisions being made are best for the company and not just for an individual component. So the analysis, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges and some of the benefits of using ServiceNow as a tool for knowledge management. So what are some of the challenges? Some of the challenges that we have are identifying the use case. So within ServiceNow you can deploy the out-of-the-box functionality, but within my organization, how are we going to use that? What do we need it for? And that can be very difficult for organizations to understand if they're a little lost. So identifying that use case can be a great challenge when deciding to implement a new technology. The price point, specifically with ServiceNow, they have been around for quite some time. They've worked with thousands of companies at this point. They're well established, and they are proud of their product. So we have seen over the years an increase in the sales prices for licenses of different types. A small organization can get away with basic licenses and get a lot of value from ServiceNow, but there's a lot of additional functionality that would be lost because it's offered as an additional cost, and so being cost effective while getting all the functionality can be a challenge. And then system connectivity. So if you already have an existing within an organization that is being used, why would I use this other system for this one component? I'd rather just use my system, but if I could connect the two, that'd be nice, but that can be a challenge for a lot of companies. So this kind of moves in nicely to the next one, is system connectivity is also a benefit. And that's a benefit directly from ServiceNow. They have made it very easy to make the application program interfaces, or APIs, quick and easy to connect to many of the other major players in these work management systems. So if you already are using one of those, but you want to use some of the functionality within ServiceNow, you can do both without being required to move your entire business over all at once. You can just connect the two and make them work well together. So another benefit is going to be the impact on organizational culture. We talked a bit about how important that's become, and it's always been important, but it's been identified in recent decades of how critical that can be. So ServiceNow and having a good knowledge management tool in general can have a great impact on the organizational culture by just improving the quality of knowledge that's being transferred. You normally end up with happier employees, and they also work better together. When you have something that connects people, you'll start to see that they start connecting in other areas as well, and it can have a great impact on the organizational culture overall. And then finally, standardization. This is not the entire list of possible benefits, but standardization is another big one. ServiceNow in particular provides that integrated work management system platform, which allows you to take the different normally siloed sections of a business and put them together so they all work in a single platform and they can see what each other are doing, and you can pass things along from one to the other without being siloed. So it promotes collaboration and standardization within the system. You can take a workflow, copy it, and apply it to another part of the business, tweaking it if you need to. But it really promotes standardizing all aspects of your business. So in conclusion, this research has shown the importance of all 6 dimensions of knowledge management when selecting and implementing a tool, but it's also shown the overall concept of knowledge management within an organization. So while these 6 dimensions are vital to all aspects of knowledge management, this research has shown that they can each apply to the tool being selected as well, which is a great thing. And as previously stated, ServiceNow is a mature product that has benefited from use in a multitude of industries, and as such, it's proven to be an excellent knowledge management tool among many other things. So something in the future that we could research could be to conduct some studies about how the 6 dimensions relate to a competitor of ServiceNow, how they stack up against one another. A concern regarding the use of ServiceNow as a knowledge management tool is the return on investment if you use it solely for knowledge management. It does have a very robust knowledge management module, but that's not its only intended purpose. So if you purchase it just for that, you're going to be missing out on a lot of the core functionality that makes it worth the price. And so even with it having a kind of bolstered price tag from years and years of use in the industries, ServiceNow is an extremely capable knowledge management tool that can assist an organization in all 6 dimensions of the knowledge management process, and it is one that I can highly suggest from personal use. So here are all the references that were used, and I do thank you for your time today.